This has to stop. Every day I'm speaking to more and more footballers and I'm hearing the same stories. Now, I'm not saying every academy is bad and there are legit opportunities in certain countries, but there's a massive problem that I'm seeing and I'm hearing it from players every day, just like I said. And here's a few examples just for you to see. 30 minutes guaranteed game time regardless of talent. A 3-month trial. Wasting 6 months to get registered so they can start playing games. And there's more. And in today's video, I'm going to highlight why these are so wrong. I'm going to highlight what you guys need to be looking for and also what you should actually be doing. So let's get started. I'm not going to lie, this is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So I was going through one of these academies pages. And again, not every academy is bad. I don't want to speak about every single academy because I'm not that guy. I just want to highlight a few common issues that I'm seeing. So I was going through this page and I'm seeing how basically any player can go and join this team if they pay the fee for 1 month, 3 months, 9 months, so on and so on. And it said here, guaranteed 30 minutes of game time in every game, regardless of the player's talent. Now that is honestly the worst thing I've ever read in my life. That is not real football. No real football club, no real football coach can guarantee any player any game time. Even if you're Messi, even if you're Ronaldo, you're not going to have in your contract a guaranteed amount of minutes. Everything in football, from being a starter, from playing 30 minutes, from a goal bonus, from getting a contract extension, from becoming the captain, everything you get in football, you have to work hard to get. Nothing is given to you on a plate, and as I said, everything you will have to go out and work for to then get. So this guaranteeing of game time is the most ridiculous thing I've ever read in my life, and I don't want to offend anyone. From a parent's point of view who might not understand football, they read this and think, oh, my son's going to play at least 30 minutes every game. This is great. But anyone who understands football, anyone who is in the footballing world understands that this is not how the real footballing world works. If you as a player are expecting to be guaranteed minutes, the football world is not for you. So I think that's the bottom line. As I said, you will not be able to go through football with that mindset because you've experienced guaranteed minutes when you were 18, 19 playing in Spain. Honestly, it's crazy. And it pisses me off when I'm speaking about this thing. So if you're looking at a team, academy, if you're speaking to an agent, a coach, and they're saying things like guaranteed or 30 minutes a game and things like this, there should be massive red flags everywhere because, again, that is just not a thing that happens in the real footballing world. If you want to start, if you want to play 30 minutes, if you want to play 6 minutes, if you want to play 90 minutes, you have to train hard all week to then earn the right to play 30 minutes, to play 60 minutes, to become a starter. I could speak about that all day, but let's move on to point 2. I had a meeting with a player yesterday, him and his parents, great people, and they said something, and when they said it, I was like, I honestly didn't know what to say. So we're speaking about his career path, where he's been, what he's been doing, club, stuff like that, and he said, I was on trial in Spain at one club for 3 months. For 3 months. A 3-month trial does not exist. Unless we're talking about Chelsea, Man U, Man City, elite academies giving under 12 player trials, that's completely different. But we're talking about senior players, 18 above, 21-year-old, 22-year-old, 23-year-old players. They do not go on 3-month trials. First, a 3-month trial does not exist. That is rather an experience that you're paying for, or it's a holiday. It's not a trial. On top of that, a normal trial, yes, they can vary, but 99% of the time, 7 to 10 days, 2 weeks max. Why? In the summer transfer window, if you spend 3 weeks or 2 weeks on trial at a club and the club doesn't sign you, you've then invested a massive chunk of your transfer window on that club, and now you have to start all over again. So if you're on trial at a club for more than 7 to 10 days and the club can't decide, you need to move on. With that being said, 3-month trials does not exist. That was not a trial. That was a training experience. That was a holiday. That was a trip. That was not a legit trial. Trials do not last for 3 months. I mean, ultimately, that team was probably using the player as a training player. Yeah, we can say he's on trial. He'll come back every day. And then for 3 months, we'll have an extra player at training. I know that sounds mean. And I know that sounds crazy, but teams will do this. They'll say it's a trial and it's not a trial. It's complete bullshit. Real trials, as I said, 7 to 10 days, that's the sweet spot. I've seen trials last a day because the player's gone to train. He's been absolutely awful. The coach has said, thank you for coming. We're not interested. This is especially common in Germany. Coaches in Germany do not waste time. They will be completely honest, which is a good thing, because if they don't want you, you can move on to other things. But coaches in Germany, they make a decision very quickly. 1, 2, 3 training sessions, maybe a game. That is more than enough. But as I said, it's quite harsh. But I've seen players go on trial for 1 training session, they didn't perform well, thank you very much, goodbye, there's the door. And that is how football works. That's the brutal reality of real competitive football. No guaranteed minutes here. And then coming to the third point, which is one I've seen, I can't even count the amount of times I've seen this. A player has signed, normally it's in Spain, and the player then wastes 6 months of his career, of his life, waiting on the visa, waiting on the paperwork, waiting on the registration to come through so they can start playing. I understand you cannot control these things, the visas, the permits, the paperwork. I understand that. But in Spain, it's such a common theme for players to go there and then waste half a season because their paperwork was not done in time. There's some countries out there that allow players to play without a visa. Germany, in some of the 5th tier leagues, so Oberliga, in some of those leagues, you can play without a visa. So you can trial, you can train, you can sign, and then you can play that weekend. You don't need a visa. Whereas in Spain, you need all this paperwork, and as I said, players waste 6 months, 12 months of their life, of their career, waiting on the sidelines, just training because they can't play. And then number 4, which is the final one, it's being obsessed with the badge or the team name. So there's a lot of these C teams, and ultimately there's no connection, there's no real connection to the main team. So the main team might be in the top division in Spain, and that looks amazing. And they have a C team, a D team, and yes, they have the kit, the name, all of that, but there's no connection. Yes, it looks good on your Instagram, girls might like it, you can put it in your bio, I understand, but there's no connection. It's like in England when you have Chelsea Foundation, West Ham Foundation. I was having a look at a player today. In his bio, he's got West Ham footballer. I go on his pictures, he plays for West Ham Foundation. It's not the same thing. I know it looks good on Instagram, but there's no connection, and it's really important you understand that. And a lot of the time, it's not in the player's fault because they don't even know that there's no connection because they've been sold a dream. And on top of that, so many players and parents will speak about development. If they go to Spain or if they go to this country, England, they'll get development, they'll get coaching. I completely understand that argument, but real development comes from playing real competitive football. Real development does not come from 30 minutes of guaranteed game time. That's not development, that's having fun. Real development comes from game time, comes from real competitive football, comes from fighting against relegation, trying to win the leagues, trying to compete against other players who are playing to earn money for their families, to pay their bills. That's where true development will come from, not from playing in the 12th division in some big country, having some nice kit, and you've put it in your Instagram bio and you're playing a guaranteed 30 minutes per game. That's not development. That's a nice holiday in a nice country where you're training every day, but that's not real development. Trust me. I don't want to make this video too long, and again, I really want to highlight the fact that I'm not talking about every single academy in England, in Germany, in Portugal, I don't know where. There's some great academies that do amazing things, 100%, but there's also these teams that sell this, and there's also academies that say this, but they're actually doing this, and players aren't getting the real opportunity to play competitive football. As an 18, as a 19, even older than that, you need to be playing real competitive football. You can't be playing this guaranteed minutes in a nice academy where everyone's friends. That's not the way football works. That's not the way the football world works. And the main understanding I want you to get from this video is that if you hear anything about a 3-month trial, run away, because that does not exist. However, if you're looking to go on trial this summer, I recommend you subscribe to this YouTube channel because we're going to be banging out content every single week, helping you understand how you can secure yourself legit trials that last 7 to 10 days and not 3 months, and you can hopefully sign a contract. So look out for our content. Smash the like button if you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. We'll try and get back to all of them. Thank you. Hope you have a nice week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.